Have you ever watched everything you worked for lose its value overnight? A job, a business, your savings, gone. Or worth half of what they were yesterday. We call it the economic cycle. That's how the design works. Crises didn't start yesterday. They always have been part of the design. And in 1971, something happened what quietly supercharged them. President Nixon ended the gold standard, and money lost its anchor to real value. Since then, money became limitless. Value became faith. Money we could create in computers with a keystroke. Every now and then, the cycle resets. Growth, collapse, recovery, repeat. Each time, those who hold capital come out richer, while the rest start again from zero. But for the first time in history, we have the tools to rewrite that story. For nearly 2 decades, I lived inside the financial system. I led digital transformation programs for the biggest global and regional banks in the Middle East and Africa. My background, economics, IT, data science, and finance gave me a 360-degree view of how money moves and how technology could change it. In spite of all our efforts to transform the old, what I found inside the machine was the opposite of change. Everywhere I looked, fear of the unknown and protection of status quo ruled. Best practices were sacred commandments, and yet best practices are the enemy of innovation because they are designed to repeat the past, not reinvent it. We weren't transforming finance. We were digitizing its flaws. That was my wake-up call. Technology wasn't the problem, mindset was. I kept asking myself, how can a world full of intelligence and technology and innovation still fail to connect the dots? Then I realized, maybe it's not that the solution don't exist. Today, if you can imagine it, technology can already build it. Maybe it's just lack of understanding. The pace of change of technology is too fast. Or maybe just nobody has ever dared to redesign the system from scratch. So I did. I designed a new economic infrastructure based on technology which we already have today. And I built a prototype currency whose value is not tied to promises and speculation, but to the real performance of its ecosystem. And it worked. I wanted to introduce this model to large organizations and companies to show them how they can shift their operations from what they have today, the unsustainable version, to a modern, fairer, newer, sustainable, and democratic ecosystem. And guess what? They didn't want it. Shifting real value fairly to every member of the ecosystem seems too risky, too new, unknown, too weird. There was nothing to copy-paste yet. That's when I understood innovation only becomes acceptable once it's common knowledge. So I decided to teach it to everyone. If building better, fairer, and more sustainable growth becomes something what everyone understands, it stops being weird. It's going to become the new normal. That's why I wrote The Rise of New Empires, a guide for people, businesses, communities to understand how future-proof economies Finance, businesses, democracy, and fairness can truly work together. It elevates the humanity to the next level by just using the technology the right way. You don't need to know how to code, just how to think, connect, and design. It's about learning how to build real use cases, solve real problems, and create a new world filled with opportunity. This isn't a theory anymore. It's a working technology today. But before we can rebuild, we must understand why transformations fail in the first place. Inside organizations, people are not trained to think like visionaries. They are trained to protect what already exists. Executives fear disruption. Managers follow playbooks. Developers wait for specification, and everyone hopes that someone else is going to invent the future. We've been educated to memorize, not to connect. We've been taught to execute, not to design, to optimize, not to reinvent. And when transformation fails to bring us real value, trust cracks. Let's look at money itself. When you take a loan, that money becomes real the moment you sign. It's created on computer screens, and it didn't exist before. It was created on computers with a keystroke. Your hard work, your effort, your energy turns that computer digit into tangible asset. And yet you're the one who's paying interest on it. Sounds like a great deal, doesn't it? It's the perfect trap. Is it any wonder that people trust Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency born from a computer game, more than they trust their own country's national currencies? Because deep down they know the system isn't serving them anymore. Who wouldn't want to leave that behind if there was a fairer, better, crisis-free alternative? Until now, we had nowhere else to go. But for the first time in history, today we do. Today we finally have something powerful enough to fix what's broken in our economic and monetary systems. Two technologies can make this happen: blockchain and AI. If you think it's not your thing, let's leave it to the coders, techies, and developers, you're wrong. It is your thing. Don't you smell it? It's money. I'm a banker, trust me. These two technologies, especially blockchain, is going to make and manage your money much sooner than you think. And now it's the time to have a say about how this will happen. We are not too late. Most people stopped learning about blockchain at Bitcoin. It proved that digital money could exist, but it could not yet power an entire economy. We cannot buy bread and butter with it, because the system cannot handle all the transactions we need. It wasn't designed for that. It was designed for a computer game. But now, by the time everyone knows about Bitcoin, the very technology Bitcoin and every other digital currency is running on already has a better version. And it's called networked accounting ledger. And it can power and run entire complex economies. And nobody talks about that, except for a few geeks, of course. It's not a coincidence, after all. Think about that. We all know the AI creator superstars, but the creator of Bitcoin and blockchain is still hiding. When new generation blockchain and AI work together based on fair rules, the result is freedom and prosperity to everyone, not just for the few. Blockchain provides the truth, and AI guards it. You may say it's never going to happen, and let the next generation worry about that. But the shift has already begun. Not the one which would bring the real transformation, though, because our ignorance and lack of awareness haven't brought us together yet to rise. The old speculative monetary world is quietly moving into the digital one. When Bitcoin appeared, it was more than a currency. It was a declaration of independence. For the first time in history, money could move freely, sometimes maybe too freely. But that kind of freedom was something new, and that terrified the big institutions. So the old world adapted. If they cannot destroy it, they try to own it. New money for the future is already getting designed, blending innovation with control. That's how stablecoins and CBDC central bank digital currencies were born. Some say they are stable, but they are really just tied to the same old money, which is keep losing value. They don't fix the problem. They just put a digital sticker on it. This is how the old world survives. Because every powerful tool can serve different masters. Just depends who writes the code and why. So the question is no longer if money is going to be digital. It already is. The real question is, who will it belong to? Economics teaches output equals labor plus capital. But only capital earns the profit today. We are paid enough to survive, not enough to build. It keeps us consuming, not owning. But now, this equation can finally evolve. On modern blockchain systems, profit sharing can be written directly into code. Every contribution, every idea, every hour of work can be recorded and rewarded in real time without intermediaries. That's programmable fairness. Equality by design, not by negotiation. Empires once rose through labor, land, and wars. The new ones will rise through knowledge, connection, and imagination. We are already building a planetary economy. Jeff Bezos is planning to put data industry into orbit. Elon Musk's Starlink connects every corner of the Earth from space. But here on Earth, we still operate systems that divide and limit us. Our wars are no longer for land. They are for digital control. And this time, we are the territory to be occupied. But before we build better systems, we must remember how to be better humans. Let's lose our ignorance before we lose everything else. We connect on social media, but live in isolation. We've forgotten that progress isn't a solo race, it's a team sport. Humanity's greatest power has always been in the crowd. Our ability to unite, to build, and care together. Technology, what used to isolate us, can connect us again. This is humanity's next chapter. That's why I wrote The Rise of New Empires. It's not another theory book. It's a working framework. Shows how communities can grow and evolve to a thriving planetary ecosystem, not to a playground of speculators. Before we go to Mars with Elon, let's remember that Earth is still our greatest unfinished project. Let's build the foundations of a fair planetary ecosystem here. So when we finally reach the stars, at least we're going to have something worth exporting. The rise of new empires has already begun, and this time, they must belong to us all.